Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives veterans, mil spouses, active military members, and military family members a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am so excited to have with me Christopher Brodi Pursley, who is an Army veteran having served from 2000 to 2005 active duty and 1 year in the National Guard out of Joplin, Missouri. On active duty, he served in the 112th Signal Battalion Special Operations Airborne at Fort Bragg and was placed on a Special Operations Communication Assemblage team. Brodi specialized in fast tactical satellite communications, carried out 4 deployments with the 112th to Hungary, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Africa. Brodi's post-service transition took him down several paths, from being a blackjack dealer in the casino industry to becoming an entrepreneur starting a military-style leadership development company to owning an axe house. Owning Tommy Hawk's 4 States Axe House led Brodi into the competitive world of axe throwing, where he has been a competitive axe knife thrower for 5 years, having competed in many different tournaments across the country. His competitions include the U.S. Open and the 2022 World Championship in the duels and knives disciplines. Brodi also earned his bid to the 2023 World Championship in the hatchet discipline, which takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma on April 17th to the 21st. Brodi has also had the honor of competing on the History Channel show Mountain Men, Ultimate Marksman as well, in the skill of Old World Knives, which was filmed on a ranch in Montana. His home venue is Main Street Axe Company in Joplin, Missouri. Welcome to the podcast, Brodi, and thank you so much for your service, sir. And I have to tell you, a competitive axe thrower. I just this is exciting. This is something like you would see on ESPN, the Ocho, or something like cornhole champions or something. But it's really a
Yeah.
thing. I'm excited to hear about this. But
So first and foremost, thank you for having me.
you're
I very
welcome.
much appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, axe throwing is a wild ride,
Yeah.
and it's edging its way into mainstream.
Yeah, great. So before we get started with that, I would love to hear a little bit about your military career. What inspired you to join the Army?
Well, from a younger age, my parents got divorced when I was 9 years old, but we were still a very cohesive family. So my dad was a Vietnam vet with the Army Chiefs of Staff for Intelligence, um, and he was a huge influence on my life in general. And he never really pushed me. He never really like burdened down on me to join the military. So I didn't have any sort of, underlying just drive to join, but he planted the seed and it was always there. Um, Later on, a few years later, my sister joined the military. She was in the Army and she was stationed at Fort Bragg. And I graduated in May of 2000, and we went on a family beach trip uh, to North Carolina the following month. And my dad and my sister both sat me down and kind of said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Right.
This is kind of where you make your decision. And I actually made the decision right then. I signed up in Wilmington, North Carolina, on a delayed entry program. I went back home until August, and then went to Fort Benning for my basic training. So that was kind of my push and my drive. I wanted to honor my not only my entire family. I have a history of veterans in my family, but um, also my dad and my sister. It was really cool to be a part of that.
Wow. Wow. I love that story. That's great. How amazing. What a legacy your family has of military service, and you're just following right in their footsteps. That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Um, so you were in for 5 years active and 1 year in the National Guard. Was there a particular aspect or moment from your service that stood out as especially impactful in a positive way?
They say from every negative there you find a positive, and being combat deployed 3 times,
Right.
I was married at the time, my first deployment and my second deployment, and unfortunately, during my second deployment, my wife had moved on. So I was trying to deal with that, and out of that came this amazing new person that I didn't really know yet. I have a phoenix tattooed on my back, my full back, because it symbolized me rising from my ashes and discovering who I was by myself. So I think that overall, it was tragic to myself, to my confidence, to my my mental health and my well being. But I found a way to turn it around and spin it into a positive, and it really I think that would probably be one of my most uh, biggest personal accomplishments is just coming out of that into a better person.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really awesome. So I know you've had kind of had a very interesting transition. I love the casino industry. Okay, that's interesting. You were a pit boss for
I
blackjack.
was.
Okay. Um, but you spent a considerable amount of time in there, but you've said that it kind of wasn't going to be the end all for you.
Yeah, so coming out of the military, transitioning into civilian life, most veterans can tell you it's a very difficult thing to do. We're set in our ways. We have routines. We have a very specific, hard way of doing things. And coming into a civilian atmosphere, things are a lot different. So
Sure.
I took some time off when I got out of the Army. I took about 6 months off. I didn't work. I just tried to maneuver myself in as smoothly as possible. And in that transition, I found shooting pool as a hobby and playing poker.
Hmm.
So through my poker adventures, I met a lot of people in the casino industry, which really it was exciting. It was new. It was busy. It was fast paced, and it was something that I was a little bit used to. So I jumped in head first. Became a poker dealer at first, and then a blackjack dealer, and then a blackjack pit boss. I did that for about 12 years, and after that amount of time, that seems to be the lifespan, the half life for someone in the casino is about 10 to 12 years
Sure.
because it just takes its toll on you.
Yeah.
Um, I saw people lose everything. I saw their mental health deteriorate. I
Wow.
saw the same people coming in every single day. And, for a lot of people, they can manage that. But then again, on the other side, for a lot of people, they cannot.
Right.
So it took a little bit more of my soul than I was willing to give. And I decided to quit my career and the amazing money that came with it to become an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay. Right. And so you started the a military development company. And so, and that kind of led you all down these roads to professional knife and axe throwing. And I I
Yeah.
have to tell you, okay, we have done here at JDog HQ, very close to our office, we have an axe throwing place, and we have done team building over there. Everybody loves it, and I'll tell you, it
Mhm.
has been so frustrating. I cannot get that thing to stick in the wood. It's like, and I'll tell you,
Hey, just give me 5 minutes and I'll have you putting it right inside of there.
I think I need a special lesson from you, Brody, because that was so frustrating. And everybody was kind of getting the hang of it, and of course, we're half veteran in this company, so all of our veterans, just a lot of dudes sweat in the gym, like it was really crazy, the competition, and I'm like, I just can't keep up. I tried, I really did, and I got a few in the wood every now and then, and it was a total anomaly if I did. Just,
Hmm.
wasn't it was fun though, but professional knife axe throwing, and one of our our veterans here got so into it and actually loved not the axe throwing. He had never done it before, and of course he was a natural, right? He actually started watching the competitions on TV. So I bet you he probably
Hmm.
saw you.
Most
Yeah.
likely.
Yeah.
The axe throwing community is, I'll equate it to the military. It's like a brotherhood, and it's such a welcoming community. And you have people from all walks of life, race, creed, religion, eh, and we all get along. In the Army, everybody was green. There was no black, yellow, brown, red, white.
Right.
Everybody came together, and we worked cohesively as a team. And the axe throwing community is a lot like that.
Mm.
I've been throwing for about 4 years, and I can't think of any significant drama within the community. Um, it's something that's really pushed me along, and it's made me lifelong friends. Not only that, but it's the competitive side as well.
Right.
So like when we opened the Axe House, we did it primarily for our community and to stand out within the axe throwing community as well as venue owners. So when we did that, the other owners and I are super self-competitive. So we were always doing competitions just between ourselves. And then we got into the leagues, and then we got into the tournaments and the traveling tournaments, and we got sponsors, and it became a vast part of our lives. And for me today, that it still is. Um, so it's an awesome journey, and it's an awesome adventure. And I'm honored to be able to hang out with a lot of the people in this community and call them friends and family.
Wow, that's really great. So the the great thing about it is it seems like you found your tribe. That's all I've heard from, so many of veterans that I've spoken to and,
Hmm.
military spouses on my podcast is, life after service, a big part of it is finding your next tribe, you know.
And it's funny that you use the term
Yeah.
tribe, because we own Tommy Hawk's Four States Axe House, and the parent company is Tommy Hawk's Axe House, and it's in Springfield, about 45 minutes away. The owner is Tom Jennings. He's a U.S. Army Ranger vet. Uh, we worked a lot in the special operations communications area, not together, but um, through through our knowledge and experience. And they call themselves the Tommy Hawk Tribe. And so when we got into that, at first we were just like, oh, okay, they're a tribe, it's their family. And now after all these years, it really dug in and helped me to understand exactly what that Tommy Hawk's tribe was. And it's just a family within a family. So it's really cool that you use that terminology.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard it said a lot, in the veteran and mil spouse community. Um, so, um, your family, tell me about that. They've been an incredible inspiration. Now, your story, I love it because you're a blended family, and Jerry and myself were blended as well. Although we didn't bring together as many children as you did, we just had two daughters that were, not quite 2 years apart, and even that was a challenge, to try to
Yeah,
melt and blend together. So you have there's six of you, and you call yourselves the Brody Brunch, right?
the Brody Bunch.
A
Yep,
take on the
yep.
Brady Bunch, an old show back in the day. But
Yeah. So my family is what keeps me going every single day. My wife is the most amazing person that I've ever met in my entire life. She's my best friend, my partner, my lover. She's everything put into one, and I honestly feel like we're soulmates. I don't use that term loosely because I could literally spend every single day with her and never get tired of her. Um, so, and she's a very dominating mother figure within our family. She's the one that's always uplifting and keeping people together. And sometimes she's more of a disciplinarian than I am. I'll give her that much.
was in my
But
household
our
too.
I'm a bit of a softie
Yeah.
when it comes to the kids.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of the kids, we have six. Connor is our youngest, so I have four and she has two. The bookends are boys. So we've got Connor at 17, we've got Nevaeh at 19, Desiree is 21, Caitlin is 22, Tori is 26, and David is 30, I believe. I get lost
Wow.
in the further they get because I feel old. David, the oldest, is a Marine veteran as
Oh,
well,
wow.
and he lives close by. They gave us our first grandbaby, so we're definitely softies for that. But these kids are amazing. They've all thrown axes with me at one point or another when we own the venue. My son Connor still comes down to Main Street Axe and throws, and he just has a blast.
Wow, that's really great. So this competition in 2023 well, it's the 2023 competition, but it's happening now, right? Or like next
Right,
week.
right.
Okay. So what does that entail? I don't. How does all a competition, axe throwing competition work? And you
So,
don't just throw axes, right? Like you do knives and
right.
many
Yep.
they're
So,
called disciplines, correct?
mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. There's several disciplines throughout the competition arena. So normally the World Championship took place in December of every year. This year's a little bit different. They wanted to push it more towards the spring to allow everybody travel because the location of Worlds changes every year. It's been in Appleton, Wisconsin. It's been in Dallas, Fort Worth. So they kind of move all over the place. So being in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's center of the country. It's easy for people to get to. It's at the Wee Street Ice Center this year. It's a new facility. It's huge. They set up targets in this giant area, and it's just like any other sport. You've got your brackets. So wherever you fall in the bracket, that's who you play. You win, you move on. You lose, you drop down to a B bracket. So it's double elimination. And there's the hatchet discipline, the big axe discipline, knives, duels, and now this year for 2024 they've added knife duels. So duels is where normally it's one person throwing on the target with another person on another target, and that's who you're going up
Hmm.
against. Duels is two people throwing at the same target at the same time versus two other people throwing at the same time. So let's say you and I were throwing together and we both hit the bullseye. That the bullseye is 6 points, so it would count as 12 points for
Oh,
us.
wow.
So
Okay.
you just double your. If you hit a 6 and I hit a 5, it's 11 points. And knife duels works the same way. So it's uh it's a fierce circle of
I'm
competitors. I mean,
sure.
these guys. For some people, it just comes naturally. For guys like me, I've thrown for 4 years and I still haven't thrown a perfect game. I've been 1 point shy of a
Oh,
perfect game.
wow.
And then you got guys that'll go out there and they'll do it every single league. So it's just finding that groove and that niche and hoping that you have a great day on days like the World Championship.
Right. Sure.
This will be my second time appearing in it. I haven't done the hatchet discipline yet in Worlds, and that's kind of the main one. That's the go-to one. It's got the biggest prize money, and it's where all of really just the fierce competitors are. So it's a true test of your mettle,
Right.
and I hope to just have a good day, throw everything together, and throw my game.
Hello,
Wow.
viewers and listeners. Are you a military veteran or military family member and looking to own your own business? If so, go to jdog.com and check out our two veteran focused franchises, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling and JDog Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. Our franchisees nationwide are always looking to hire fellow veterans and patriots. JDog is the world's largest military franchise system with hundreds of locations nationwide. We are nearly 90% veteran owned with the goal of reducing the veteran unemployment rate to under 1%. Check us out. Go to jdog.com to learn more. Now, back to the podcast.
So will you not only do hatchets, but will you do different events?
Not at the
Oh,
World
okay.
Championship. So you only compete in the disciplines that you
Oh,
qualify
okay.
for.
Got it.
You can earn bids throughout the. You can earn your bids throughout the year with league, with circuit points from tournaments, um, and towards the end of the year they do qualifiers. So if you haven't won a bid yet, you can throw a specific set of throws and hope to score high enough to get a bid to the World
Okay.
Championship. So at this World Championship, I'm just throwing the hatchet discipline. However, there are a couple tournaments beforehand. There's a Big Axe duels tournament, exhibition tournament, and then the day before that, there's a pretty big warm up tournament, and it's going to be awesome.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, yeah, I'm not breaking into your house. I'm not crossing you. Oh, wow. Okay. Hatchets and dual knives and oh my goodness. Okay. That's amazing.
Yep.
I love it. Um, talk to me about your tactical treasure. We've come to that time. I would love to know what you're going to share with us today.
Okay, so I'm gonna cheat, and I actually have two that are
That's
tied
okay.
together. Um, so I'm not a very material person. I was never like that growing up, and I find more value in emotional um, aspects. So my first one is I have a coin in the military community. If you're not familiar, those watching, you get challenge
Hmm.
coins. A lot of times you'll get them for different accomplishments, different achievements, or high ranking people that you've met or done a good job for. They'll give you a coin out of appreciation. So when I was in Djibouti, Africa, I ran communications for the Secretary of the Navy at the time, Gordon England, and he gave me one of his coins. So to have a coin from,
Wow.
a SecNav is pretty high ranking, and
Yeah.
I may or may not have gotten free drinks at the bar with it. I don't know. Um, but on the physical side and the material side, that's one of my tactical treasures. I've carried it with me, um, on my person for years, even after getting out of the military, just because it has a lot of significant meaning
Sure.
to me. And there's actually a cool story that goes with that. I had someone steal, unfortunately, a bunch of stuff from
Oh, no.
me 15, almost 20 years ago. So I was only out of the military for about 2 or 3 years. And what they stole one of my safes, which had my coins, medals, and cash and some things in it. Well, I'd found out who did it, and I tracked him to Florida, or I tracked him to Texas, and I tracked him to Florida, and he refused. He refused to give any of it back. So years down the road, I find this coin on eBay, and the seller is from Florida, where he's from.
Oh my gosh.
So, and it's the exact coin. And a friend of mine, I had posted it, and a friend of mine had actually bought it before I could get to it, and he surprised me with
Oh,
it.
wow.
So it came full circle. It was so it gives me chills just thinking about it, but it's a really cool treasure to have. Um, my other side of that is just the family aspect that I've gathered from the military. I think most importantly, that is my most beneficial tactical treasure that I can think of, is having the sense of camaraderie and the sense of brotherhood and the sense of family. Because a lot of these guys and girls coming in or out of the military, they don't have that, coming in or coming out sometimes. So to be able to hold on to that form of brotherhood throughout my entire life, I still talk to many of the guys I served with every day. They're still my best friends. They're my brothers. So I think that would be definitely my biggest tactical treasure, is just that sense of brotherhood and camaraderie that follows you throughout your entire
Wow,
life.
I love it. That's great. I love the coin story. Oh my gosh, that I have chills. Just that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Shout out to Terry Gibson. He's the one that bought it and surprised me with it. And he's not even a
Oh
veteran, but
wow.
he's a supporter, and he's a really great guy and with a really big heart. And I think that demonstration just goes to show how
Oh
awesome he
yeah.
is. And he's part of that family. So
Yeah. And it's horrible what happened, that you had all that stuff stolen, but a lot of it, I mean, is material, but to have that special coin back, I mean, that's
yeah,
amazing that you were able to get that back. Wow. That's awesome.
exactly. Yeah.
What a great, great story. Um, so, um, just any advice that you would have for your fellow veterans struggling with transition post military?
Oh man. First, I would just like to offer up my experience and my advice. I'm sure you'll put a link in here to how to contact me, whether it be an email or something like that. But if you guys are out there watching and you're having issues, serious or not, I encourage you to reach out to fellow veterans and and just talk to them. It's that easy. We've all been through various forms of, hardship, struggle, whether it be not being able to find a job or, your purpose in life. That's what we're here for. And I help, I strive to help any veteran I can whenever I can. So that door is always open for me personally, but I just encourage people to, talk to people in the field. If you're looking to get into a new career and you don't know how, find someone in that field, whether it be on LinkedIn, preferably a veteran because you can relate a little bit more to those
Yeah.
people. But I think that would be my number one piece of advice is don't give up on yourself. Don't lose hope. Get out there. There are organizations, there are nonprofits, there are service dogs, there are people to talk to and people that you can come to that will be 100% understanding and get you on the right track. Um, and I say it in that tone because a lot of veterans struggle with many different things across the board coming out of the
Yeah.
service. Um, and unfortunately, I've lost several friends due to suicide. So veteran suicide is a really big thing that we work on in our community and work with various nonprofits just to get the word out there that we don't need to lose 22 veterans a day. That's ridiculous. It's heartbreaking, and they need to know that there's places that they can go and people that they can
Right.
talk to.
Right. Well said. Well said. Um, so before you go, if people want to find and connect with you, how would they get in touch with you? And what if somebody thinks, "Wow, axe throwing, I'd like to join." How would somebody go about like trying to work on doing competitive axe throwing?
Yeah, so it's super easy. As long as there's an axe throwing venue within, your preferable area. Uh, Most places hold leagues. So I would recommend if you're wanting to get into axe or knife throwing, just walk in the door and, uh, ask them about leagues. You'll instantly become part of a family that you never knew you had. Um, and then from there, you find more out about tournaments. The World Axe Throwing League and the World Knife Throwing League are both on Facebook, and there's a vast amount of information that gets pushed out on there, as well as custom knives, custom axes, if you want to really show your style, for what you want to throw rather than just an Ace Hardware hammer hatchet. There's a lot out there, and you can find me on Facebook as well. I'm HMFIC Brody, and I'm also Brohawk Grunt Style affiliate. So I've got a couple pages that you can follow, but yeah, I recommend if you're wanting to get into this community and this sport, it's growing exponentially, and now is the time to do it. So you'll find a home and a family and a love and a passion that you probably didn't know you had.
That's great. I love it. Um, this has been amazing. I I know I feel like I have so much more knowledge about competitive axe throwing. It's amazing. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to get.
and if you might actually see me on the World Championship too, like because the semifinals and the finals are aired on
Are they?
ESPN.
Okay.
I know we joked about the Ocho earlier, and we make that joke in the community all the time. Like sometimes this is where we think
Yeah.
we belong is just on the
Right.
Ocho. But the last several years we've been on just regular ESPN, ESPN2. So that will air probably a few weeks after the World Championship. Hopefully, you'll see me on there.
Yeah.
And but if not, I'm not giving up. I'm
That's
not quitting.
great.
So
I love it.
uh,
I'll have to start checking the stations after a week or so after to see. But
yeah,
shoot me an
yeah,
email. I would love to know how you did.
I
Okay.
will.
Thanks so much for sharing everything, and good luck to you. I hope you
Tracy,
win.
thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and I hope that I've touched at least one person's life today. Um, Again, I'm honored to be on the podcast, and I appreciate the
Thank
invite.
you
Thank
so
you.
much. I'm honored to have you on, sir. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Tactical Treasures podcast. We've just finished up a very interesting and amazing conversation with Christopher Brodi Pursley, who is an Army veteran, now turned competitive knife thrower and axe thrower. He would like to thank his sponsors who have supported him in his competitive axe throwing career. Half Face Blades, founded by Andrew Arabito, Navy SEAL retired, to meet the need for high quality go to knives and axes, usable, personalized, functional, versatile tools that work for every person in every walk of life. Grunt Style, what you wear is more than just a necessity, it's about attitude. Grunt Style has taken the fighting American spirit and instilled it in everything they do. You don't have to be a veteran to wear Grunt Style, but you do have to love freedom, bacon, and whiskey. Grunt Style provides more than just apparel, they bolster a lifestyle. Heartland Canines for Veterans, NPO. HK9 is driven by a single goal, to do their part in making the world a better place for the veterans who have served this great nation. They use proven canine training strategies to produce a highly skilled and capable team. Four Brothers Mead. The four brothers are Brian, Chris, Joe, and Dan. They all enjoy mead and one day set out to create their own. The title and vision for the brand was clear, combining their ancestral background with a drink fit, battle hardened warrior. The brothers created an old world product using only the best all natural ingredients to produce a drink worthy of the gods. Our veterans first, to empower homeless military veterans by providing a safe environment in which they can restore mind, body, and spirit and prepare themselves to be independent and whole. Balish Woodworks, whose mission is to deliver high quality and premium custom and handcrafted wood designs and furniture to those seeking to elevate their space. Their first priority is building lasting furniture to be passed down to the next generation with cutting edge woodworking tools and technology, hand-selected premium woods, and by staying on top of industry standards. Hinkle's Ace Hardware, Union Station Deli, Abe Paint Solutions, Charlie 22 Outdoors, veteran nonprofit, and Peterson Outdoor Ministries, veteran nonprofit. To follow Brodi Pursley and to learn more about his competitive axe throwing, you can find him on Facebook by Googling his name, Brodi Pursley. His Instagram is HMFIC_Brodi. And as I said, you can just Google him and it'll bring up all sorts of interviews and articles. And also will bring up his Facebook page for his Main Street Axe Company in Joplin, Missouri. So if you live in that area, check out all their events. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find our Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms, as well as Vet TV and American Grit. We are now airing on Reese Across America Radio on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And if you missed that, please check the encore out on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Reese Across America sponsorship group. For every $17 veteran wreath that you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTSD. You can donate right now at reaseacrossAmerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.